Hello everyone! So for today's video, we're going to talk about National Immunization Program. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Immunization is an essential public health service and is commonly defined as the process of conferring artificial immunity to population groups. Immunity is described as resistance and protection from disease attributed to the presence of antibodies in the blood. The National Immunization Program is widely known as the Expanded Program on Immunization or EPI. Vaccine preventable diseases are under national immunization guidelines, and one of these is EPI. National Immunization Program or NIP is committed to guarantee free immunization services and ensures that Filipinos, especially the poor, have access to routinely recommended vaccines. It further guarantees the immunization of neonates, infants, children, adolescents, mothers, and elderly population as part of the comprehensive strategy for disease prevention and control following the life stage approach. EPI is established in 1976. It was created to ensure that infants, children, and their mothers had access to routinely recommended infant or childhood vaccines. Tuberculosis, poliomyelitis, diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, and measles were the first 6 vaccine-preventable diseases included in the EPI. In 2011, through Republic Act No. 10152, the mandatory basic immunization now covers tuberculosis, diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis, poliomyelitis, measles, mumps, rubella or German measles, hepatitis B and H influenzae, type B. In 2004, the Department of Health or DOH implemented the Reaching Every Barangay strategy as part of the said immunization program. So for their vision, vaccine preventable and disease-free. For the mission, to reduce morbidity and mortality rates due to vaccine preventable diseases. So as you can see here in the slide, here are some of the specific goals. The NPI is considered a means to achieve immunity of the population and contribute to public health. In general, the goal of the NPI is to reduce morbidity and mortality among infants and children caused by common childhood immunizable diseases. Now, let's go ahead and talk about laws. First is the 1987 Philippine Constitution Article 13, Section 11. Section 11 states that the state shall adopt an integrated and comprehensive approach to health development, which shall endeavor to make essential goods, health, and other social services available to all the people at affordable cost. There shall be priority for the needs of the underprivileged, sick, elderly, disabled, women, and children. The state shall endeavor to provide free medical care to paupers. Next, we have 1987 Philippine Constitution, Article 2, Section 15, that states, the state shall protect and promote the right to health of the people and instill health consciousness among them. Next, we have the RA or the Republic Act 7846, amended PD 996, clarified basics immunization services to be given. This is an act requiring compulsory immunization against hepatitis B for infants and children below 8 years old, amending for the purpose of Presidential Decree No. 996 and appropriating funds therefore. Next, we have the Republic Act 10152 of 2011, Mandatory Infants and Children Health Immunization Act of 2011 for children up to 5 years of age and inclusion of new vaccines. such as hepatitis B, mumps, rubella, Haemophilus influenza type B. This repealed PD 996 and is considered as the current legal basis of the NIP. Additional is the Presidential Proclamation number 6 of the 1996 implementing a United Nations goal on a universal immunity by 1990 and designating Wednesdays as Immunization Day. So here in the slide, you could see the different principles such as based on the epidemiological situation that fully immunized child coverage improved by 10% and the child protected at birth against tetanus improved by 13%. Then mass approach is utilized by conducting a routine immunization for infants and children and women through the Reaching Every Barangay strategy. Last is the immunization is a basic health service under the Republic Act of 10152, which mandatory gives infants and children health immunization or new vaccines against different diseases, which is signed by President Benigno Aquino III on July 26, 2010. Now let's talk about vaccines. First, we have general considerations on implementing the immunization program in the country. First is to remind caregivers of children to comply with the prescribed schedule of routine immunization and to bring with them the immunization record of the child for every clinic visit. Next, previous doses do not have to be repeated regardless of the interval. Next, eligible age for the pentavalent vaccines up to 5 years. And then booster doses are not really necessary. Next, vaccines may be given on the same day at different sites. Next, when administering several vaccines on the same leg, it should be at least 2.5 to 5 centimeter apart. For the disease of tuberculosis, we have a vaccine called Bacillus calmette-guerin or BCG. The route of administration is intradermal. Site is right deltoid region of the arm, given to prevent infection of tuberculosis. Number of doses is only 1, and temperature should be stored between positive 2 degrees Celsius and positive 8 degrees Celsius. Next, for poliomyelitis, the vaccine is oral polio vaccine. Route is per orem or oral. Indication is to stop or prophylaxis for polio in infants 6 to 12 weeks of age and all unimmunized children up to 18 years old and high-risk adults. So number of doses is 3 within 4 to 6 weeks interval. So again, for poliomyelitis, we have another vaccine. This is the inactivated polio vaccine or IPV, which is given intramuscularly or sub-Q. Site, infants and small children, aterolateral aspect of the thighs. Kapag naman older children and adults, deltoid muscle for intramuscular. Or the posterior aspect of the upper arm for the subcutaneous injection. So indication, usually given in combination with DTaP or HIV with or without hepatitis B, given at a minimum age of 6 weeks with a minimum interval of 4 weeks. We have 3 doses. For our next disease, we have diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, Hepa B. The vaccine is pentavalent vaccine. Route of administration is intramuscularly. Site, opposite upper thigh of the muscle. So the first dose is given only after a child is 6 weeks old, and second and third doses are given at 10 and 14 weeks of age respectively. So we have 3 doses with 4 weeks interval. Next disease is measles, rubella or German measles, mumps. Vaccine is the MMR. The route of administration is through subcutaneous. Site is on the upper outer portion of the arms or right deltoid. The first dose is administered at 9 months of age, and the second dose will be given when the child turns 1 year old. So for the number of doses, we have 2 with a minimum of 4 weeks or 28-day interval. Next disease is the pneumococcal pneumonia. Vaccine given is the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine. This is given through IM. The site for infants and young children are in the vastus lateralis muscle in the anterolateral thigh. For older children and adults, we give this in the deltoid muscle. Indication: prevention of invasive infections, pneumonia, and acute otitis media. So for the number of doses, we have 3 with 2 months interval. Temperature is between 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. If several vaccines will be administered, start with the OPV, rotavirus, then other vaccine. Okay? So in rotavirus, this is given through per orem or per mouth. Indication: at a minimum age of 6 weeks with a minimum interval of 4 weeks between doses. The last dose should be administered not later than 32 weeks of age. For the number of doses, monovalent human rotavirus vaccine or the RV1 has 2 doses. Then the pentavalent human bovine rotavirus vaccine or RV5, we have 3 doses, both with a minimum of 4 weeks interval. Now let's move on with the Japanese encephalitis. The vaccine is Ixarobrand. Route is subcutaneous. Site is in the anterolateral aspect of the thigh in infants 2 to 11 months of age. Same with 1 or less than 3 years old. Deltoid muscle in individuals 3 years of age and older. For our indication, this is given at a minimum age of 9 months. Children 9 months to 17 years of age should receive 1 primary dose followed by a booster dose 12 to 24 months after the primary dose. Individuals 18 years or older should receive single dose only. Lastly, we have the human papilloma virus or the HPV. We have vaccine for that is given intramuscularly. The site will be deltoid region of the upper arm or in the higher anteral area of the thigh. So the indications: give 3 doses of HPV vaccine following 0 or 1 to 2 and 6 month schedule regardless of the age of the vaccinated person. Initiations to the following: children with history of sexual abuse or assault starting at the age of 9. Then immunocompromised children including those with HIV infections, and HPV vaccination is not recommended during pregnancy. For the number of doses, we have 2 to 3 doses depending on the age group. For the temperature, between 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. So here I have provided childhood immunization schedule based on 2019 chart. This is a schedule for children. So here I have provided a sample child immunization record. This is from DOH or Department of Health. This is the recommended routine immunization schedule for children. So let's have a recap. A fully immunized child should have 1 dose of BCG and Hepa B at birth. Should also have 3 doses of OPV, 3 doses of Penta, 1 dose of IPV, and 1 dose measles vaccine before the child's first birthday. So added information: reusable vaccines such as the OPV, pentavalent hepatitis B, and tetanus toxoid may last for maximum of 4 weeks provided the following conditions are met. Number 1, has not passed the expiry date. Number 2, appropriate cold chain conditions have been observed. Number 3, aseptic technique was observed during the aspiration of the vaccine. Number 5, the vaccine vial monitor or the VVM has not reached its discard portion. And then the vaccine septum was not submerged in water. Talking about cold chain system. So this system is used to store vaccines in good condition, also called as the vaccine supply chain or immunization supply chain, a system that ensures that the vaccine stays in the WHO recommended temperature range from the manufacturer down to the recipient of the vaccine. So, the key procedures to be observed in the cold chain system are the following. First, storage of vaccines and diluents within the recommended temperature range at all times. Second, the vaccine must be packed and transported according to the recommended procedures. Next, we should keep vaccines and diluents within the recommended cold chain conditions during immunization sessions. So we have following recommended equipments for cold chain. For example, we should have refrigerators. They could hold 1 month supply of vaccines, a minimum of 2 weeks supply of vaccines and diluents, backup and standard. They should be able to hold ice packs. Next, we should have cold boxes, vaccine carriers, ice packs, foam pads. Yung foam pads serves as a temporary lid when for unopened vaccines in the area. Now, let's talk about VVM or the vaccine vial monitor, which is a sticker attached to the vial of the vaccine that indicates if a vaccine has been exposed to heat or if a vaccine is still viable. Each vial of the vaccine should have its own vaccine vial monitor. So here are the following benefits. So rule number 1, if the inner square is lighter than the outer circle, then you can use the vaccine. Then rule number 2, if the inner square is the same color or even darker, then do not use the vaccine, as you can see in the picture. So remember, all vaccines in the NIP have VVM. Here in the Philippines, almost all vaccines have VVMs. However, 5% of the private sector vaccines do not have VVMs. Normal course and side effects of vaccination. For the type of vaccine, which is BCG, the normal course, there will be a wheal raised by injection. Then it will disappear in about half an hour. After 2 to 3 weeks, swelling may become small, abscess which ulcerates, and then the scar will last 12 weeks. Side effects, we have Cox phenomenon, deep abscess on the vaccination site, indolent ulceration, and glandular enlargement. For the DPT, usually we have patients experiencing fever, but the fever is only good for 24 hours. Then there is also a report of local soreness, abscess, and convulsion. This is very rare and usually occurs in children above 3 months of age. Next, we have OPV, has no side effect, measles, fever, and rash. And then tetanus toxoid has a report of pain, redness, and swelling. Vaccine production. DOH has set up a vaccine production plant at the RITM. First trial runs for BCG production have been successful. The plant is capable of producing water for injection. So the plant can produce chromatography purified clinical grade equine rabies immunoglobulin, so or also known as the ERIG. So next, we have Children's Health 2025, a sub-document of Child 21 realizes that health is a critical and fundamental element in children's welfare. So again, summary, recommendations from the DOH regarding proper temperature storage and duration of biological are shown. For example, proper vaccine storage, first expiry, first out, or FEFO principle. Then we have vaccine vial monitor. It is a round disc of heat-sensitive material to register cumulative heat exposure. The lower the temperature, the slower the color change and vice versa. And then lastly, we have the shake test. This approach can be used to determine if the biological should be used or be discarded. If the vial is smooth and cloudy, immediately after shaking, the biological can be used. However, if it appears granular and not smooth, it should be discarded. So you have reached the end of this video. I hope you learned a lot. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. So thank you. See you again next time. Bye!